What's up, Tree Life? How we doing? So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. Let's go right here. It's a little chilly in here, but it's warming up. So, how are we? What's up, Billy? Ground Pounders here. We got Dan K. Sorry, I took a couple minutes. I made that same mistake where I hit go live and it asked me again if I wanted to go live, and I kind of waited by the door for a second to give a few minutes for people to hop on, and I didn't realize it wasn't live, so that's my fault. How late am I? Let me check. 4 minutes. Okay. My bad, guys. Peter, what's up, buddy? So, yeah, this is episode 104. Every Tuesday. So, anybody who's curious, if it's your first time catching the live feed, every single Tuesday we have gone live for 104 weeks now. So, don't know when I'll break that streak. I'm sure it'll happen eventually. But until then, we do these. Hopefully, you guys enjoy them. Usually pick a topic and just kind of attack the topic for the day. This time, I want to. I watched the video. Let's go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wanted to use a video from a real good content creator, Guilty of Treason. A very, very popular channel, very big channel, and a guy that I really kind of, I have a lot of respect for, and I've gained a lot of respect for the more he goes on. So I dig the dude. That's officially 2 years, bro. 104 weeks. Oh, no. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, that's 2 years straight. We've went live on every Tuesday, and still I get people that's like, when is this gonna happen? How is this gonna happen? And I'm like, oh, really? Well, I do it every Tuesday, and I've done it for quite a while. So yeah, I think you're right. That's crazy to think. Um, what's going on, William? So, still driving home, long day. Dang, Peter's still driving home, huh? Okay, so Jake from Guilty of Treason just put out a video. I believe the video is called. Hang on, I have some like notes so I could kind of get onto some subjects and kind of lead the conversation a little bit. I kind of want to just kind of go off cuff because I didn't want to do anything scripted wise, but there's some like topic points and kind of questions that I kind of want to ask you guys, and we can kind of discuss how the whole thing went. If you don't mind and you haven't subscribed, you want to subscribe, that would be awesome. If you don't mind hitting the thumb button, that just kind of helps all the analytics and stuff, so I'd appreciate it. But put out a video. It was called Huge Double Fur Takedown. So Jake has built two massive channels. As far as a content creator, I think maybe he seems to have all of it figured out. I'm amazed with what he's done. He should be incredibly proud because he's built this twice now. But in his video, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just like, I really enjoy his content. I'm trying to get that out there before I start anything. So, Jake from State Farm. No, not Jake from State Farm. Jake from Guilty of Treason. But, Jake originally worked for a company. He then went out contract claiming, and now he owns his own tree service. And I think a lot of guys disregard when you do your own thing and you're having to make all those decisions and deal with all the daily stress and stuff that goes into it, whether it be maintenance, public relations, with people, customers, homeowners. There's so many little things, and then trying to keep, if you have employees, keep that figured out. Trying to keep, the jobs all rolling along. It's such a hard gig. I mean, I give anybody the utmost respect if they do it, especially if they involve themselves in, and they're also doing part of the job. I have a little less respect for those guys that just run a company and they just watch everybody do stuff. That's a personal thing that I feel like I have, that I've just dealt with a lot. So maybe I have my own little thing with, as far as that goes. But I don't mean anything by that. Jake is a climber. He does everything when it comes to tree work, and he is now in the point where business is booming for him. Well, I'm not. No. I need not to do that. Business seems to be going good for him, so he is busy now, and the busyness and steadiness of the work and making those decisions on a daily basis repeatedly gives the brain kind of no time to shut off. You get that time to go home and relax and see the family and chill and everything, but that doesn't mean that your brain shuts off. If you're anything like me, your head's still trying to solve those silly problems that you ran into throughout the day. So he puts out the video, and in the video, there's an accident that happens with a limb that comes out, and it ends up putting a hole in the driveway. Also, apparently, a light was broken. That doesn't show up on the video. I guess that was edited out. But I really respect the way that, because Jake is not, I don't think Jake edits his own videos. He sends them to a guy, and the guy edits them and puts them together. As far as I know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's the way it goes. So he's taken himself out of that aspect of it, which I feel like you're going to get more of a true, like, realness from the content because of that. Because as a human, you can't help but want to hide your flaws and accentuate, the things that you do good. So he's taken himself from that, and editors put this video together, but that doesn't mean like the editors got all this. Jake has the say so. So he barks at his guy and seems to get pretty pissed about the whole situation. That's probably the maddest I've ever seen him get on any of his videos. So, and it wasn't crazy. He cussed for once, and got a little snippy and was very aggravated. And I think there's a lot of things that probably contribute to that. So that's kind of what we're going to get into. Steel Cutting, what's going on, brother? And Rob the Climber, what's going on? So yeah, we'll get into that. We'll talk about that. What are we talking about? What did I miss? Just guilty of treason. We decided to use his video and discuss it for the day. So what's the video called? The video is called Huge Double Fur Takedown. Climber sent a top and it broke a driveway, put a hole in the driveway. Guilty of treason about 20 minutes in or so. Yeah, that's why I said try to watch the video from the beginning to about the 30-minute mark, and then it cuts off and does the next day after that. So I was only referring to the beginning. So what happened is Jake's very busy. He only has one day to get in on this job. I'm just giving you what I know from the video. So I have no inside information. I'm just going to explain for someone who maybe gets onto this video and didn't watch that. So Jake, as popular as Jake is, seems like business is being very steady for him, and he's not really able to take breaks. He's having to stay going, grinding. Whether he's contract climbing or now he's got himself to where he's doing his own business, so he's running everything in that. So on this particular video, I think there's two big fir trees. They're right by a house, and they're next to what I would consider like an asphalt driveway, blacktop. They called it something else, but that's probably a regional thing. So Jake is a bit, he's working with what he has. He had to have his buddy Kevin, who he had worked with at Eastside, I believe, who is now doing his own contract climbing thing. He contracted Kevin for the day to come there and do one of the trees. And so I think more so Jake could actually run the ground and help the ground guy first. And that extra hand can mean the world on situations like that. So he's got one guy on the ground, doesn't seem to be very experienced. Maybe he is, but I've never seen him in any of the content. So that guy's running the ground with Jake. Kevin heads up the first tree, gets to cutting. He gets to a point in the tree where he is all the way at the top and is ready to fall atop. Well, the top can actually fit in the area that they have. So instead of him doing that, Jake, he says, I think it would be a good idea to put a crash pad so that they don't damage the road. Um, that is, there's the whole, where the whole thing happens right there. He says, I think we should put a crash pad. I 100% agree. That's what they probably should have went with. Jake decides no, and I don't know why Jake would just say no to that. I personally feel like what I got from the video is he didn't want to get behind on the groundwork by putting a pile of brush there. He wanted to stay caught up, so he told Kevin to climb higher and take a smaller top. Kevin's, I guess, asked, well, how big? He's like 4 inch, So he continues to go up, limbing it out until he gets to a very small top. Now this top couldn't have been. It was maybe let's say 10 foot tall or so. It was very small. To me, it looked to be about 4 inches. I could be wrong. You tell me what you think. So at that point, Kevin says, I don't. It's so weird. I'm trying to say two different guys' names that I don't really know, and I'm going to get them mixed up at some point. I know it. So, Kevin, the contract climber, says to Jake, I'm here now. I'm going to send this top. Jake says, all right. Talks to the camera. Kevin is going to send the top now. That's a big tree, he says. These are some tall trees, man. Kevin, acknowledges yes. Jake is able to see where he's at, okay? How big the top he's about to take, and it doesn't seem to question it, the size of it. So Kevin puts a notch in it, sends it. What happens is it comes over. As it starts to come down, the wind catches the needles and all the foliage. I don't know if you consider it foliage on an evergreen tree, or I guess conifer, whatever you want to say. But as it's coming over, it wants to come down, but then the butt weight makes it go first, and the needles catch wind, and it works like a sail, and it comes over, it goes like this, and as it starts to fall, the wind catches this, and the weight of the butt starts to drop. So that'll happen a lot of times, especially during these very, very tall trees. There's a lot of hang time involved that some of us will never have to deal with. My trees aren't that tall. So that hang time for me would be half, So I'm not trying to act like I know anything as far as that goes. Tree veteran born again. What's going on, brother? How are you? I want to catch up on a couple questions and then I'll jump right back into it. But I want to keep with you guys. Man, I've wrecked a bunch of stuff. Being self-taught. Hey, that's just a learning lesson, brother. That kind of stuff happens. Good communication would have prevented it, but also protection. That's two which Jake mentioned would have been used in the summer. Yeah, I agree. But at that time, Kevin had asked for them to put a crash pad on the ground. Jake said no, take a smaller top. Okay, we'll stop. We'll kind of go from that point. As a climber, have any of you contract climbed? How do you feel like? What's the order of leadership? Personally, I'm of the impression that if you contract climb and you was to call me and I come to your job, when I walk onto there, everything that I do is my decision. So like I'm the boss. Now if it was a friend or someone close to me, I would have probably a trust or something in them, and maybe I would let them lead, knowing them. But when you don't know somebody, when you come on to it, you would take on, I'm making all the decisions. If something happens, I'll take the responsibility and I'll cover it. Or the owner would say, I'm telling you what to do, and if something happens, I cover it. So Jake says, I'm worried about it busting a hole, take a smaller top. He tells him to go higher. The climber has to make a decision. Do I feel safe going any higher at this point? I felt like it was a very good spot to have been topping it. I probably would have roped it down and rigged it down. So all of this happens, and we'll talk about what happened with Kevin. Then Jake does a tree right afterwards, and everything is different. So he tells him take that smaller top. He puts a notch in. He's getting ready to send the top after he had tried to take one about double the size. He told him that's too big. Keep going. Take a smaller top so we don't bust a hole. He goes on up, keeps limbing, gets the what looked like to me about a 4-inch diameter top, and says, I'm going to take it here. Jake says, well, Kevin's getting ready to send this top. Man, these trees are tall, man. And he's watching. Kevin makes a notch. The tree comes over. It catches the wind. The bud comes down, pumps or just bumps straight into the ground, spears into it. Jake runs over. You could tell by the way it hit. Jake kind of you could see knew, and he gets pissed and says, "You just put a hole in the damn ground. You broke a light. You know this that." Now, being friends with a person, I think your aggression level is probably going to get there quicker. And those two knowing each other probably has a lot to do with it. You know, you can talk more freely to a friend or someone who knows you than a stranger. So, do you think Jake was. What do you think? Do you think Jake's anger was because of the hole? Because of the decisions that were made, or strictly because Kevin made the wrong decision? Or do you think he felt like that's the question, you have to ask yourself? I want to catch up with some comments and then we'll keep going. What's up, Jake? The climber did exactly as asked and took a 4-inch top. That was kind of my impression too. What's funny is that the larger top would probably have landed better. I set an attached climbing rope, go just chipper, scary shit. The climber was fine, thank God. The rope finally broke. Dang, yeah. And the story of he even told a story beforehand to kind of give everybody a heads up, like, hey, we're gonna be running the chipper, the rope's gonna be here, all this stuff. Like, we'll go all the way through this. I personally, this is my opinion, I feel like when the mistake happened, Jake is almost mentally overwhelmed at that point. All these decisions this man has to make on a daily basis, all the responsibility that comes into play, all of the risk that's being taken is always on his shoulders, and it's like it becomes overwhelming at a point. You become completely stressed, and all these things that you do on a daily basis build and build and build. And I've been in those shoes. I've barked at a ground guy for making a mistake that I've been told many times that I'm very silly, that the guy didn't deserve that. A lot of that has to do with I know the man, we're buddies, I know he could do better than that. I know if his attention span is on something else. I know a lot of backstory that other people don't. And I'm sure there's a lot of backstory on this that I don't know about. So I'm not, this is all speculation and opinion. So I think he was angry at himself because I feel like that's the person who he kind of should have been angry with. If the crash pad was there, it would have protected the ground, which Kevin asked for. If Kevin would have climbed higher, he would have been taking a top that was less than 4 inches, which is taking a risk that personally I don't feel like should. But I also think Kevin made a mistake with his notch. So up in the tree, I believe his notch was very, very kind of tight and thin. So what happens is the tree starts to come over, and about right here, the hinge completely closes up and it breaks away. So with a bigger a big wide open mouth, that tree would have held on, that top would have held on for a much longer before it broke loose, and then would have had more time for it to even itself out. The butt wouldn't have hit so soon. So I feel like the notch could have been played with, and the outcome could have been different as far as that goes. And I also feel like sometimes luck's not on your side. I know that maybe some people don't believe in that, but if you're gonna free cut a lot of stuff, Mother Nature can throw a curveball with a gust of wind and change your day, change your week, change your year, and in some cases change your life. Free cutting, that risk is there. So you'll notice that a lot of times I refrain from free cutting a lot. I've dealt with this stuff and I've seen silly things happen that should have never happened. And the only thing that could have stopped it, the little bit that could is a rope, tying a rope onto it. So he's angry at that point. He barks at him, tells him, "You just put a hole in the ground in the driveway, and you broke a light." I mean, and he's like, "And we just talked about it. I told you to take a 4-inch, like a small top." But then he looks down at that top and picks that top up and carries it to the chipper. And maybe the camera angle's making it look different, because he doesn't acknowledge that, yeah, you're right, this is about a 4-inch top. So maybe the camera makes that look smaller than it is, and maybe the top was bigger than it looks on camera. So maybe Jake, being angry about it being such a big top, that could be true. I don't really know. I couldn't say. From my viewing of it, it looked to be about a 4-inch top, but I could be wrong. Let me just catch up on some comments. I don't want to get behind. Didn't see video, but you see too much concentration on filming and lollygagging in many videos across the web. Yeah, and I feel like depending on the content creator, you're gonna. With me, I'm sorry. I've you guys know me. I'll walk the line of risk of life and death. A lot of times, I'll do some stupid shit that maybe others won't. But when I start to feel scared, that's probably when I should record in case something was to happen. But a lot of times I don't. I don't want that footage to be there to be seen. If something was to happen to me, that's gonna hurt some people. So as much as a content creator, I'm like, yeah, if I kill over, like I want the video, somebody edit the video and put it out. That's the YouTuber in me wanting them views, and knowing that people love an accident or to see people fail. That's just humans now. I don't much understand it, but it is what it is. So you'll lose the content with me before you'll get a lot of silliness. So I get what you're saying, born again. Like I definitely I do understand what you're saying, though. It's different, man. It's really different. I've had the damn hair fall out from stress. I'm telling you, the stress is unreal. I've went through days of work where my eye twitched all day long because of the nerves that I've dealt with. I used to go on long trips in the mornings to hours away to go do a tree and never seen the tree and be shaking with adrenaline and nervousness, like trembling, as I'm pulling up and getting there because I don't know what I'm getting myself into. And I'm so far from home. And like it could all be for naught. And the guy sitting next to me needs to go home with some dollars in his pockets. And like I'm like, you just there's so many things you stress on. He's now stressing on keeping the maintenance up on the machinery he has when it comes to the bucket trucks, the chipper, the trailers. Like there's so many things that no one talks about. There's the dealing with these people and trying to come to terms with them and how you're going to treat the task that you got to perform on their property, and trying to please people can be one of the most frustrating and like like you can exhaust yourself trying to just please a human nowadays. So I get it. I absolutely get it. And I don't blame him one bit. I don't see anything wrong with the way he responded. Kevin is the only one who can tell you how he really feels about that situation and how that went. The bummer part is Jake is stressing and he's at that point he's giving up some responsibility and some of the scariness, the things that like I could never I couldn't imagine having someone else climb something that I'm responsible for. I just don't think I could ever do it. I'm sure at some point one day maybe that happens, but I could never personally. I just couldn't do it. My stress for me to do it is enough. I couldn't imagine stressing as someone else is going to respect the property, the danger, and like the welfare of everything, everybody on the ground, and I become so incredibly terrified for them up there. It's like I could, he's going through it. So an anger outburst like that isn't so rare for a guy who's stressed to the max and having to do everything. I love the fact they put that in that video. Without that, you know how easy it would have been to edit that little part out. That little part makes that entire video for me. I respect him so much for putting that in there, for showing it and not editing it out, like, and making it clear that whether he admits he made a mistake or whether he's showing you some of them things that has to be done when you're running the ship. So it would have done him no good to let that hole get jabbed in the ground and for him to say, "We'll get him next time, Kevin." No, 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 no. The importance of what happened needed to be discussed. That was a mistake that happened. You can choose however you want to initiate that conversation, have that conversation, whatever tone you want to use. That's on you. That's your place. That's your gig, and you're the captain there. That's your boat that you're cruising. So it's like I have nothing to say about that. I don't think he was right or wrong with the way he acted. I can relate to it though. I've done it a million times. I have been ran through the ringer in my YouTube comments when Dave used to be in videos. I know Dave very, 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 very good. Like I have for decades. So it's like we spend an hour before hanging out before we ever do anything, and I know what's going on with him, and I don't want to put people's personal business on there. So when I get aggravated at him, it's because I know some other stuff that you guys don't know. And like I know how good somebody can do and how good they can be, and when they don't live up to that, you start to wonder if they just don't have respect for you. or or your authority or what you got going on. So like you have to show that it is an issue. It doesn't do you any good to just be like, oh shucks, we'll catch them on the next one. No, no, you kind of have to say something. So let's see. Oh yeah, Norwegian girl, what's up? Yeah, I know. There's a woman in here. Stand up straight and act right, fellers. Quick check to see how you're doing. Human nature is misjudgment. Happen, unfortunately, also. Um, Overreacting to mistake needs to be corrected. See you later. Yeah. Um, and when as that contract climber, you gotta think about like that guy has a choice whether he ever shows back up and would work for you. If he feels like you treated him like shit while he was up there, he may not return and help you anymore. Um, that's from the point of view of the contract climber. As the owner, you feel like that guy didn't live up to what you thought he should have been for the day. You no longer want him on your job sites. You no longer call him. So like it's a it's a 50-50 game there that you're playing. And depending on that contract climber, like I was saying, I don't recommend some people would ever have me there because they can't let go of their authority. But that's just me. I have to have that in order for me to feel safe while I'm up there. Like I said, there's situations and circumstances where a crew is so good that you can let that up and just say like, "Hey, what do you need done? I got you." But yeah, you gotta figure out as a team how to make that work. So what happens is the hole gets punched, he gets mad, it kind of wrecks morale. Kevin's bumming, you could tell he didn't think that would go down like that, and he ends up getting down and going and emptying the chip truck. I don't know if that was like, you know, for them to tell him like, go take a break. Maybe Jake needed a break. Maybe he was feeling, I don't know. Now I can understand sending a guy to go empty the truck because you don't want to continue to get mad or say anything to him because you're angry. But at the same time, you got to have a lot of trust in that guy to send him off in your vehicle that's brand new. Like you have a lot of trust in this man. So Jake ends up going up a tree right afterwards. So Kevin finishes his tree. It's still a log. Jake goes up, takes a couple chunks of wood, while Kevin goes and empties the dump trailer or the dump truck with chips. So that's where we're at, and we'll pick it up from there in just a second. Was surprised some brush wasn't left for a bit of a pad. I agree. I agree, old fart. That's what I'm gonna start calling you. Just old fart. Sometimes it's important to show the scary stuff and fails. I 100% agree. I think those are the most teachable aspects of this. Perfection is rarely shown in this line of work. You can say, "Oh, I wanted that to sliver and break and do all." Perfection is rarely ever seen. I've never ran into it. I've never been perfect today, and I've done this enough. Let's just say that. So, Radical Steel, what's going on? Simple thing is though, if you don't like it, don't watch. Yep. Don't apologize. It's how you work Everyone can criticize, but every situation is different. That's what sets our job apart from the ability to analyze and make this best judgment. Yeah, and it's a tough thing. It really is. I think the mental stress that comes along with this job is rarely, if ever, going to be understood by anyone else. I believe there's probably a few occupations maybe out there that could comprehend and maybe understand it a little bit, but I think 99% of the world will never get it. So, also, I had worked a construction job where our work failure caused a guy to break his back. These are realities. Yeah. Yeah, and you just don't want that. Like, I'm sure didn't I know Jake didn't want to make these mistakes. And it's embarrassing when you're that guy who's running the ship and a mistake happens. And then you have to it continue. You have to adjust from being chill, like everything's going good, to blood pressure sky high, you're irate, you're so mad, you know deep down this man didn't mean to do what happened, but still you're angry. Like it's not. Trust me, it's not healthy to always swallow every bit of anger and issues that you have and keep them to yourself. You'll get ulcers. Your stomach will always hurt. Your eyes will start twitching. You'll stay skinny. No, there's a lot of things, but yeah, that's the scary part of this. There's so many decisions that are going to have to be made, and the stress that comes with it is unreal. I try not to give the tire kickers, too much attention. We can only do our best. Yep, I agree. Not sure what everyone's talking about, but I know the stress of being responsible for everything. Um, we were talking about guilty of treason's last video. What is it called? Huge double fur takedown, where you had a contract climber, his buddy Kevin, who showed up, took a top, ended up putting a hole in the driveway. Apparently, a light was broken too. So here's the thing that I couldn't so much relate to. So after this happens, and Kevin leaves to go take the wood chips, Jake then, as Kevin's coming on his way back, Jake goes and jumps into the other fir tree, goes up it, and starts to limb it out. He rigs, which I relate to a bit more. I would prefer to rig a lot of them branches down instead of taking the chance of the butts hitting and them flipping over or hitting a light or just falling in the wrong way. Sometimes they'll catch and flip. There's silly stuff that can happen. A rope cancels all that stuff out. A lot of times you're always going to see me try to put a rope on it. I gamble enough in life, and I've gambled enough in life with life. I just try to avoid that. I don't want to get into the why, but so Jake heads up the tree. He's limbing it out, doing some rigging, and he says Kevin has shown back up now. They're chipping brush, and he tells Kevin or the guys on the ground, to put a crash pad so that he can fall his top. And I think he admits, I'm not 100% sure. I think I watched the video twice because I felt like I needed to really, if I'm going to sit here and talk about it, I at least needed to watch it twice. Like two and a half, actually. I was trying to familiarize myself with it as I was coming out here. But after Kevin asks for a crash pad, Jake says, no, climb higher, take a smaller top. Climbs higher, takes a smaller top, Kevin does. It still comes out and bumps a hole in the ground. Jake says a few kind words, gets mad, and says, I told you to take a small top. I feel like the top was at the 4-inch mark. Whatever. That's maybe it's a camera view. So Jake then goes up the other tree, and then it blows my mind when he says put a crash pad. That's what we. But then I think he does admit that that's what they should have done on Kevin's too. So he wants the chipper shut off also. So the only thing I didn't really agree with is that like if and that's it's so hard to let go of control. So when you're controlling the safety on the ground, he's fine with the chipper running with the climber in the tree when he's on the ground, and I get this. Like maybe some won't, but he knows how to make sure that nothing gets in that chipper. He's going to keep 100% attention on it. He knows the dangers involved there, so he's okay with the chipper running, climber in the tree. But doesn't feel so comfortable when he's in the tree and there's other guys on the ground. So I get this. And he wants a crash pad to fall his top. I think in the long run he ends up rigging his top out anyway, so doesn't use the crash pad. But he does admit that they should have used the crash pad. He gets lucky after he gets down, and the customer is apparently a great person and is like, don't worry about that hole. I'll take care of it. I got you. So he then says, which takes a pretty big man to put it in the video and admit it, that he feels bad because he barked at Kevin. And I don't think it is so much as like a boss. I think it's more as a friend. Like, you feel bad. I feel like, and I want to know, I'm going to ask some questions and I want some answers in the comments section, because I feel like nowadays things are going to be so much different than what my opinion in this is. I personally feel like there's too many feelings that are on the job site anymore, and I don't much care for it. It's just a personal thing for me. I think too many people think their feelings are too important, so like, and they take so many things personal, which it's not. If you're there and you're making a penny or 2 pennies or anything above that, it's no longer it should turn to business. And I hate that sometimes that feelings end up getting hurt in those situations. But I don't think they should. But I know that nowadays men have more feelings than they ever had before, and they have no problem voicing them and constantly telling you about how you're an evil human because you got mad one time. Maybe Jake won't deal with that. I know I've dealt with it a lot. Because I've always, and it seems like YouTube is moving into this direction, but I try to be honest in my videos, always. If there was a mistake, if I was rude, if I messed up, if I made the wrong decision, I try to just give you that. I could easily edit all that stuff out, but then I come off looking like this superhero that I'm not. I'm sure people, I just don't want to build this persona and make stuff up. I would rather sleep good at night knowing that you get the real me always, and when I wake up and I step in front of this camera, I'm always me. I'm not going to change from that. That's just me. I have a bit of social anxiety. I'm a bit awkward. If we're talking tree climbing, chainsaws, or tree work, I then become incredibly confident. You're in my domain. Anything other than that, whether it's just introducing yourself to another person, I'm a bit awkward. So like, I like that YouTube seems to be trending in that direction, that the more real stuff is becoming more popular, and I really like that. But I think for the most part, he does go over to Kevin and he says, my bad for hollering. And that takes a big man to apologize to another man. I can promise you that any video that I've ever spoke in a rude tone, gotten mad, gotten aggravated, on that ride home, an apology was always made. And I tried to give an explanation of how maybe in those exact moments, my restraint to be able to hold some of that back isn't the best, but it's because of the stress that I'm under. And like, I need whoever that is to please don't take this personal, because I don't mean any of it personal. And I've had really good luck with guys just understanding the stress and being able to understand me in those situations, which I appreciate a lot. And they're like, yo, that was serious though. I'm glad that I understand you had to keep it serious. That was a serious situation. Someone could have got hurt, this, that. But there's always that apology. And yeah, I could look like an even better human. I could always record that on the way home where I'm like, hey man, I'm really sorry about being rude. I didn't mean anything by it. And please, if I get in those kind of moods, don't take it personal. Ever. It is not personal. I don't mean anything by it. I'm not the best at dealing with that stress at points. So I personally love Jake's content. If he puts out anything, I always watch it. I'll continue to watch his stuff. I love watching his videos. He he's just, I relate to him even more now. And I hope that he doesn't let the stress of doing his own thing and making all these decisions overwhelm him and get himself in a pickle. But I'm sure he'll figure it out. He's a smart guy. He's doesn't seem like there's too many things that could stop him, because it seems like he's had some wrenches thrown in his way. It didn't bother him much, and he rebuilt multiple times. So my respect for the guy is through the roof. But I want to know, if you were the contract climber on that job, and for those who don't know and you just tuned in and you didn't watch the video, go to Guilty of Treason, watch Huge Double Fur Takedown. There's a link in my community page to get to that video. Watch to the first 30 minutes. That's what this whole live feed has been about. I want to use other channels and in some cases, channels that maybe are smaller, maybe throw some attention their way. This one, that's definitely not the case. His channel is enormous. I think it's like the biggest tree channel that there is. So, if anything, like, I'm trying to ride his wave a little bit, because he would be the one on the like, he's up here. I'm just a small little YouTuber down here that's been doing it for a very, very, very long time. But that just proves I don't know what makes you viral, what makes you popular, what makes your videos better than others. So can you link the video? Oh, Norwegian girl, yeah, on my community page. There is a video and there's a link. I just made a post before this live feed, and it says watch this, and right below it is a link to the video. And if you don't watch Jake's content, I really suggest checking his content out. If you like tree content, he's probably the best in my opinion at making the content. My favorite would be Lawrence Schultz. He just doesn't give us much content. So, yeah, I want to know, if you're the contract climber, how would you feel? Would you come back? If you're that business owner, how would you feel? Would you have that guy back? Does being friends change any of that? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go over none of this. Like I think I pretty much covered everything. I think, but um, yeah. One of the questions I wanted to ask was like, could there have been anything done to change the outcome there? I think a more wide open face cut would have held on longer and would have stopped that butt from being, because it just got to where it was flat bump. So a little bit more time of it being tip heavy, maybe it would have landed a little flatter. that's uh that's a tricky thing, and the height of what you're dealing with is gonna make a huge difference in that situation. So have you checked out the video? It was talking about all the people trying to be famous. I was one of the first three guys I watched, an educated climber and Trevor Ahern. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's wild to start to see the new crop come in, though. I mean, I am that older generation on YouTube now, except for all the other ones blew up. All the other channels got really big. Mine stayed very small, and is what it is. Um, I'm gonna have subscribers whose channel passes me up, and I think that's awesome. So I mean, more power to you. If you built the channel and I can help you and we can get it going, cool. I really do. I'm pretty for sure that I have some subscribers whose channels have built and have gone so good they're going to shoot right by me with no trouble. And they may have the biggest channel here in years. And I will be more than proud to support the whole way. Um, it's really cool to see. I'm just trying to maybe one day be able to look back and be like, yeah, I left a little mark. I left a little mark. And that's all I want to do. Maybe be remembered one day. So I'm not. Were we? Holy sh! Okay, you see how bright this is? First of all, you're so right, and I am so sorry. I don't know how to read. So this comment section is really hard. So this is Braille. I read audiobooks and dropped out in third grade. So forgive me. Northern girl. You take pity on a silly hillbilly? My bad. Norwegian. I don't know what I was. Who knows? I'm sure I'll say something else stupid here in a second. That's me. And not only, like, I looked at your name 50 times, and I don't know how I didn't get it right one time. Ground Pounder, don't laugh. You could have corrected me, you jerk. Big TK Nugs. We've all been there, and most of us on both sides of the situation. Yeah, definitely. Definitely been that climber that was there and been like, yo, this guy didn't treat me worth a damn. He was rude and this and that, and you got yelled at. And I'm sure that I've shown up and people have been like, yeah, I don't like that guy running my stuff. Like, I don't want him back. So it's a tough one. It's a tough situation. But I just thought it was a good one to lead us through a discussion for a live feed. We've almost made it the hour. Like I said, this is episode 104. So at some point I start to run out of things to talk about. So To the point that I just start making up names for you guys, apparently. I don't know what that was all about. Almost Green Pounder, Bobby Shoemate, Ridiculous Steel, The Veteran. I'm not. I'm stop. Yeah, I'm just making fun of myself. Yeah, I was trying to make it say everybody's name wrong. So. Guys are lucky to have help at all. About killed myself today loading logs. You know what, brother? Should be happy to be out there still doing it. Some of us would kill to just get out and do something. And I'm speaking only from me personally. I would love to work with you. I'm an easy-going climber. Better safe than sorry. Well, that would be awesome, man. Maybe one day we could do that. I would dig that. Yeah, I'm not opposed to somebody being able to climb. And I've climbed with my brother a couple times. So I mean, I've been in where there's another climber, and I've had some stuff go wrong when I've tried to work and allow the owner to kind of run things. But where I live, a lot of companies cut a lot of corners, and it took years before anyone around me wore a hard hat. There wasn't a company anywhere near me from anywhere in Missouri that I had ran into really who wore a helmet. And I'm sure there's a few up in the cities that were legit and like did finally wear helmets, but I had never seen one. Now, what would happen is I would go onto a site and I would just be like, "Hey, I'm not having a guy under me without a hard hat. That's just not the way I work." And while I'm up there and I'm cutting and I'm dropping stuff, if they don't have a hard hat on, I'm getting down, I'm leaving. Because I don't want to hurt anybody. And I've had some accidents that have happened that scared me to death and brought me to tears, and I thought like I had messed someone's life up and stuff, and like there's just no feeling like that. Like that kind of stuff rips my heart out to think about. And like there's so much stress involved that most people maybe there's some people out there that can drive drunk and have no worries in the world. I'm just not one of them people. I'm a worrier. Like I spaz on stress and like fixate on it, and maybe I don't handle it as well as others, but I just know from my personal experience how it is to deal with it. And it was really relatable when he barked and was pissed. That was very relatable to me. So maybe I'm wrong. Hired 7 guys in 8 months. Yeah. I'm going to scroll. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm so far behind on comments. I'm going to have to skip. Oh, Jared's here. What's up? Nee, what up? I'm so sorry. See, and I hate when I get behind because I'm sure people showed up and they like left a comment and I'm rude and I don't answer them. So, and Northern Girl, it was a very long time ago that you corrected me, and so you can see I was at that comment. Holy smokes, you guys are so fast. Gordon, what's going on? I haven't seen Gordon in a bit. How you been, brother? You're nudging 10K subs, Mike. Even August took a long time to take off to where he is now. Yeah, you're right. You know. It's just I have to be okay with the slow simmer. That's my channel. My channel's the slow simmer. We're making pot roast over here. So it's got to cook for a day, while everyone else can seem to make a YouTube channel that's like steak on a grill. Give them 20 minutes and it's done. Like it's amazing. It's as good as it gets. Mine, it's got to simmer all day long to the next day. It may be good when it comes out, but it's not quick, and it's not the fanciest. It'll feed you, it'll taste good, it'll get you full, but you ain't gonna go rolling into a super fancy 5-star restaurant and say, "Oh, I want some pot roast." But that's my channel. We're pot roast over here, so. But thanks, Gordon. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know that. I just sometimes I just boo-hoo, you know. He will sell you his. Who? Oh, good. I'm in market. Zacchaeus and I did correct. And I did. You homie. Do what? Hang on. Am I missing something here? I just got off, have 7 trees, can barely stand up, backs out. I don't know. Well, if it's best to grow organically, Northern Girl, we're on that best track over here. And that just makes me appreciate, and I feel like get to know you guys on a much more personal level. Like, it seems like my subscribers will grow, and slowly they will jump into our live feeds, and I get to know them and talk back and forth with them. They become like friends, and that group has continued to grow, and it's cool. I appreciate you guys a lot, and it blows my mind when I can do a live feed. And at one point, I think we were like 30 people almost. So we still only have 9 thumbs up, but that is what it is. Hopefully, you give me a bunch of thumbs down, because apparently YouTube likes them too. Give me all thumbs down. I'm okay with that too, as long as it's gonna help the algorithm and get me going here. Because if you guys haven't noticed, I have been very constant on the content as much as I possibly can. And I think last week, I feel like I've been doing videos non-stop. I think last week I made $17. So, and that was pushing as hard as I could go. So, that's YouTube for you. Here's the analytics for last week. 2 videos, 3 shorts, 1 live feed, and 1 community post. I did 16.8 thousand people tuned in. There was 41 new subscribers last week. My Speed Kills video apparently did the best. That video was made 5 years ago. It's got like should be getting close to maybe 2 million views. I don't know. So I think it's the only video on my channel that's ever went viral. And I don't even know if that's considered viral, but to me it is. It's just way more than anything else ever did. So then the pulleys versus rings video, which I shot just the other day with this stuff back behind me. Yeah, it did pretty good, but it's a little short. And then the third best video for the week was best tool for tree work, and that was a short, and that was focusing on the pulley from CMI, the little block, and really focusing and trying to draw some attention to Greg Brown's bollard, which I am so stoked for Greg and love to see what he's building. So, as far as, a constant stream of possible income, it's amazing to see, because the guy's he's so good. He's so good at what he does. I want to get one like Zacchaeus, the truck he has. Oh, right on. both sides of the situation here also. I can't spell his name, never can. If either of those got all of their feelings ever, should get a different job. Am I still way behind on comments? Holy smokes. No, I'm not that far, so I'm gonna keep reading them. So Gordon says, all good, Mike. Hot and humid. In the subtropics of Australia. Dang! Gordon, you're all the way over in Australia? That is awesome, man. That's crazy to just know that your reach even gets there. Like, that's so cool. You live in an amazing place, man. I would love to go there one day. Correct, Mike. Just pains of being solo. Gotta vent to someone. Most guys wouldn't do what I do in this condition, but I have to. And I respect the hell out of it, tree veteran. I do, man. There's some of us that it's always interesting to me to hear the new generation where they're like yeah, I twisted my ankle, so I'm off work for a month or something, trying to heal up. You know, had to go to the doctor, get all these CAT scans, and like wow, like okay. And like if I get through a day of work without gashing my hand open or my arm open, my leg open, climbing on two blown out knees with ribs sticking out of my chest and back issues, it really gives me a chuckle when I see what can stop some others from doing their job. So there's some of us out here, tree veteran, that are right there with you, brother. It the accomplishment you should feel at the end of the day should be unreal. Coming after Jacob, 1 million subs. Here I come. Ground Pounder, the growth of your channel, dude. I'm telling you, it's at a very steady grind. If you keep putting out content and just keep it going, who knows, man? You don't know what video is gonna blow up and put you on the map. So I mean, you had your 500i video that blew up. You don't know what that video is gonna be. And I have a live feed where I show how to hotwire a window to get it up. That video does absolutely great. People watch it every day. It gets views, and it's like 50 to 70,000 or something like that. It's alive. It's one of my live feeds that I did years ago, and it's still to this day. It just continues to get views, and it's so gratifying when you get like I've had so many good comments where people are like, dude, thank you so much, you saved the day, this kept me from having to do this or I looked like the man to my wife when I went outside and did. I love it. I love it. I wish I could be that guy that could secretly help everybody so they could go walk in the door and look like the man, because I know how good that feeling is. And I think that's why I do what I do here. I want all tree climbers to be able to walk through their door like that, because they just have this toolbox of knowledge that they walk onto a site, they have that confidence, they leave that site with even more confidence on a daily basis, and they walk through the door like they're the man, because they are. And like maybe you don't get told it enough, but if you do this and you grind and you get through these days, you're the man or the woman. If you're whatever your job is, like you should walk through your doors with pride, kick your feet up and relax because you earned it. So that bald-headed guy helper, he wouldn't wear a helmet. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say another time, so I said goodbye. Yeah, yeah. I've had them situations. I've been on job sites where a little twig come down and stuck in a guy's head too. So just depends. Depends. Like I try my best to go explain myself to the workers instead of being like, and I also usually come equipped with the hard hats because people around me didn't have them. Like they didn't they didn't wear them to the point that they didn't even have them. They didn't exist. They didn't own any. So like I'd have to come with them and explain like this guy, and this guy because I only have like so many hard hats. These are the only guys allowed to be anywhere near this tree. Anywhere near this tree. That other guy can go up to the trailer, to the chipper, kick rocks. Like I don't care. But like you have to take a bit of control and like in the situation with Jake and Kevin, maybe Kevin needed to be like, dude, I feel more comfortable having a crash pad. Can we please just put a crash pad? And Jake should have, after it happened, he should have been like, "You're right, man. Should put a crash pad. Even though I had you climb to a floor, it still put a hole." Because at the end of the video, well, at the 30 something minute marker when they finished for that day, Jake says, "Let's not talk about it no more. I don't want to keep rehashing it." And Kevin, I really dig him. He's funny. He says, "Oh, and I know next time when you say 4-inch top to go up and take a 2-inch top." So that probably would have been my exact same response to, especially to a buddy. I mean, you're not trying to argue. You want to get along, and I think it was just an honest mistake that wasn't expected by Kevin. He didn't think like that could possibly happen, and it does. That's probably something he'll never run into again. It's something he'll keep in the back of his mind, and probably he'll never make that mistake again. So, want to catch the vid? Great chat, Draco. Well, thanks for hanging out, and I apologize for calling you Norwegian for some reason. I don't know what. Northern girl, thanks. I appreciate you, guys. Did you see what I got from Greg? Yes, I did. Have you used it yet? Can't wait to see you using it. Yeah, use that thing for sure, GP. Anyone know about property assessments? No, just received. Yes. I don't really have issue of land that's complicated, and I think maybe someone trying to trick me. Property assessment. Yes, your property taxes are going up. I'm okay with tax. It's something else. Yeah, that kind of stuff is crazy. I just got some stupid ass paperwork with my insurance. Like I don't even know what they're talking about. I turned 40, so I guess some stuff is changing. My insurance is through the roof. I haven't ever had an accident. Never gotten a ticket. Like I don't know. And my insurance is still continues to like climb, and they start talking about like your premium was met and this and that, and like I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I pay you when you call. That's all I know. And I don't know. I hate that kind of stuff. Have land dispute with family and a subdivision mines grandfather in. What's up, Jeffrey? So yeah, those are tricky situations, man. The land disputes are always, especially with family, they're so aggravating. Like my father-in-law has dealt with one of his neighbors, who every year cuts a couple more feet into his field. Like this dude had a little bitty square like yard when I first started dating my wife. He now has like a golf course size yard. It is enormous, and he just takes a little bit each year and mows it. And I don't know how the laws like actually work, but I've heard like if you maintain something for a certain amount of time, it now becomes your land, which doesn't make any sense because what if I don't want it maintained? You were trespassing, so because you trespassed and mowed some grass, or trespassed and picked up some trash, or mowed again, and none of it makes sense. So if you trespass and do it on a regular basis, and no one sues you for it, you can have some extra land. I don't get that stuff. So my 661 just got some upgrades. Mine too. Look at that. I think they call that a brake. I don't really know because I never had one before. But I got one of them things now. Got that bark box on there. Had to find a bolt to work there. Had to find another weird bolt to work over here. Had to make something to put the dogs together because they kept falling off and the holes are wallered out. Um, but yeah, got that going. My issue is my 200 over here though that I'm having issues with. Got a feeling it could be to do with the spark, but I don't think so because it runs so good originally until it starts to get warm and stuff. I'm thinking maybe some gas lines are collapsed or something. I have to go through it and find out. It's all, like I said, it's my dad's, and it's just means a lot. And I feel like stronger having it in my lineup, and I'm bummed to that it's not running to par right now. So definitely want to get that thing going. Try to catch up on comments. I gotta head out. We only have 4 thumbs up. How you been, Jared? Did a refresh and now it shows 13. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, it shows 13 for me right now. I gave away half my work. I know, Mike. I know. Finally sold some wood, like 35 racks. Oh, that's awesome. Have tons more. Logs or pay. I just take them home. But yeah, I did that for the longest time, but then now I don't live in the area, and it just I feel bad storing it at my either my in-laws or my parents. So I stopped doing it, and I try my best to give firewood away all year long to people who need it for free. Like if you can use it, it's yours. I'll cut it into firewood for you. I will put it in a pile. In some situations, I'll even load your trailer. But yeah, it didn't have very many people like taking advantage of that this year, which is very strange. I think a lot of people were probably kicking themselves during this cold weather here recently. You've been downsizing? I get it. Yeah, that's why I like my little tandem trailer. Um, I think just even my little tandem trailer was hard on my truck. Oh, bad. Rage for him. Nice guy, really sucked. Damn, that sucks. What's up, Jeffrey? How you been, brother? First, gotta get all the new front. Okay. Yeah, the 200 is pooped out on me. It runs good. Even in the last video, you can see it. It's running pretty good, but it was having issues on the initial start. This could be a plug issue. I don't think that's what it is. I think it needs a new plug, but I don't think that's the issue. But what would happen is the saw would get good and warmed up. It would get, I'd say, 20 cuts into a tank, just cutting limbs. And then all of a sudden it would just start. It just didn't want to run. You could get it to start, but it would run super good until that point. So I don't really know. I'll have to check it out. We could partner up. Would love to be a ground guy and do the bidding. Hold over cherry tree for 2 easy the day. That's pretty sweet, man. You can't beat that. Yeah, I think it's probably gas line issues. I would think more than likely they've turned to mush and they're collapsing. And after saw gets warm, it's easier for them to kind of smash out. It was a bit cold that day, so I feel like that's why it worked so good at first. The the hoses were a bit stiffer from the cold, a little more rigid, and as the machine started to warm itself up, they collapsed and then would stop getting gas. So I don't know. It's just something I have to look into. The saw means a lot to me and deserves much better. So I mean, I should probably just go through the whole saw. It may be a while before I put it back in the lineup, and I just need to do some TLC to it. So I think it's sucking air. You may be right. You don't know what you're talking about. Check the fuel line for a hole. Yep. Yeah, that's a good possibility. It really is. Um, I've had saws do that to me before, and it was a seal on the gas cap. Like I've switched out seals on the gas cap where it wasn't sealing the tank off. Like I've had some weird stuff, but I don't think it's anything simple like that. I think the issue someone had even suggested maybe spark arrestor. If you know me, when I buy a saw, the first thing I do is take that thing and throw it in the trash. So, or I go buy an aftermarket muffler. Didn't buy it. I got it as a gift. I get an aftermarket muffler and then cut it to pieces afterwards. Just trying to get the spark arrestor off of it because I don't like them things. Firewood is flooded market and too warm. Just bought tandem a while ago, the 14th. That's awesome, brother. I think personally, if you want to stay chill and small and keep things rolling, I think that's a good one to go with. Just a tandem trailer, good set of racks, and I think that's enough to get it done. You're not going to be hauling around the most insane loads and finishing massive jobs and super quick, but you should have to be okay with that. And I'm sure if you're like me, you could be okay with that. So, yeah, last week there was 391 likes, 9 shares, 45 comments. Like I said, I made $17 last week. And then, a really cool stat that I just found out: 18,131 people in the last 90 days use closed captions on my videos. So whether it's that they're foreign, or they're hearing impaired, or what it may be. That's just always cool to see. I try to put a lot of labeling in my videos for them people in case the closed captioning stuff's not available, and for the longest time it wasn't. So yeah, as far as content last week, probably one of my favorite videos that came out was the Lawrence Schultz video, the "What Am I Doing and Why." That was a video of him doing some vertical speed lining, which is really crazy to see. He does a video on it right after we had talked about vertical speed lining, and it was perfect for that scenario. He was on a hillside, and he'd be dropping chunks, and the deflection would shoot stuff out, and you'd lose the pieces. So the vertical speed line would just keep things under control. Like I said before, the addition of a rope creates all the control. So even in that situation where you don't even have control, it's just riding a line, like zip lining, speed lining. Vertical speed lining is even less controlled, but it's so incredibly controlled at the same time. So he put that video out, explained that. Tree climber Harry did the entering mousetraps video where he's doing those big eucalyptus trees over in Australia where they're all crossed up and mashed up on each other. Gordon, he's in, I think, your area. So August put out that mystery tree video, the crane video, which I think he was taking out a beech tree. Yeah, Trees put out a video which was really cool. That it was called Cowabunga Cadiz. I love their content. They're some of my favorite. If you haven't seen them, go check their videos out. It's Yeah Trees. Also, Popular Mechanic put out a DMM Captain Hook long lanyard video. Jeff built a few really cool axes and did a video 660 versus massive sugar maple, where he fell a massive dead sugar maple. That was a really cool video. Apparently, Monkey Beaver bought a new location. They have a new warehouse, so they did the 2.0 office. Ground Pounder put out some family videos. He did a few live videos and did the unboxing of the GB3000, which is Greg Brown's bollard that has an attachable winch. Amazing setup. Greg's a genius. Peter Shea put out a lock clearing, and lock clearing video. Lock clearing is always kind of fun to kind of do because you're doing the cutting and stuff. But then you got to clean all that silly ass mess. But those are some of the hardest ones to bid and judge. Also think he did something. Oh yeah, the negative rigging over the house video. That was really cool. I think it was called Negative Rigging Over House. Don't hit the lift power line. Something like that. You guys can see how little my writing is. Like I tried to get as much as I can on these little pages. And Bridge Burner just put out a video that was really cool. I enjoyed it. My truck goes or something like that. But it just reminded me of when I used to have this little Geo tracker. It was such a compact, little tough vehicle. It was four-wheel drive. It was a bit of a savage. It just drove and drove and drove. I think the thing had I think it was like 700. Like it had an insane amount of miles on it, and still it got fixed and someone else sold it. Um, so it's still out on the road right now. But I remember one time I was heading on storm relief to go do some work. Um, it's probably a day's drive away, maybe not quite that. But I was going to go do storm relief work and was heading from here where I live down south to go stay at a motel, get up next morning, get to work. So I have a buddy with me. We pull up and he's an older guy, but he's wearing like a 1950s windbreaker. And I tell him, I'm like, hey, pump like 20 into this. That's like, I think I had gas, so that's about all I needed. Like, hey, pump 20 in there for me. I'll go and I'll pay for it. I go in to pay. All of a sudden, the girl behind my counter goes, huh, your truck's on fire. And I'm like, yeah. And I look out, and it's on fire. Like, it's shooting flames out, and they're shooting like 8 to 10 foot above the vehicle. And I'm like, shut it off, shut it off. And she's new. She apparently doesn't know how to shut the damn pump off. I'm running out there, and I'm like, I start hollering for the guy, my buddy. He has ran, he's across the road looking at my vehicle burning. And he's like, oh shit, oh shit. My middle name is, I'm not saying it, no. Um, we'll keep that a secret. He calls me by my middle name. But he's like, oh shit, oh shit. It caught on fire. I'm like, yeah, you idiot. I can see it's on fire. So flames are shooting, like I said, they're launching out of it like a flamethrower at like 8 foot out of the tank while the pump's attached. It's still running. I run back in to grab the fire extinguisher off the wall, and it's not there. There's no fire extinguisher. So I run back out, and at this time it's still shooting flames, and I reach my hand into the fire and hit the trigger on the gas pump, and it clicks off. And like my tank is still got, and I smother it out and rub, and I'm thinking my vehicle's just gonna blow up this whole time. So it melted. It had a rag top on it. It melted the whole top, and it was the dead of winter, and I had to drive that all the way down south and deal with just being cold, and had to buy a new top. And yeah, so ground pounders or bridge burners video reminded me of when I used to have that. Then it also reminded me of the catastrophe that somehow I got away from, and how I dealt with it, and just kept going. So have a bit of resilience. Don't let the silly, stupid stuff stop you, whether it's making content and a troll's getting on your nerves, or it is something major that happens in life. Yeah, you always got tomorrow. Things always get better. And tough times are never enjoyable for anybody. So I thank you guys for watching. If there's a different video maybe you guys suggest and you would like for me to review for next week, or a topic that you would like me to discuss for next week's Tree Talk Tuesday, no promises that I'll be here. But if I am, make a suggestion. Maybe we go with your idea. Thank you guys. Have a safe week, and I'll catch you on the next one.